Welcome to the Loaf Podcast. This is a podcast for genuinely good people with a bit of an edge. People who want to help other people, unique people with a unique purpose. Our purpose is to find out what makes people tick, what's held them back and what's pushed them forwards. I'd love this to be as interactive as possible, so if you're watching on YouTube, please have a go in the comments and please read the show notes. Thanks to my sponsors, Verve Estates and Property Management, Darlington's finest estate agents and property managers, Neon Source, which is a sourcing company matching investors to properties, and also The Property Thing, which is the North's finest property networking event with a bit of business chucked in there as well. Thank you so much. Please enjoy. So welcome to the Loaf Podcast. Today I've got Francesca Brownless, who is a bona fide fruitcake with glacier cherries, roasted almonds and a sprinkling of TNT. She's the genuine article, by the way. So I first got to know Fran when we were on a property walk around in Darlington, like an educational day, and she was stood front and centre, total newbie, asked 1,000 questions like off a conveyor belt. And we had the job in stitches, didn't we?
Yeah.
It was a funny day. So, she's enthusiastic, she's a businesswoman, she's a massive go-getter, she's a real kind of example, I think, of how the youth of today should be. Not that you're a youth anymore, but you're 34 years old.
Yeah,
tell
34.
us about your journey from Fran 0 to Fran.
To now.
Fran 34.
Fran. We'll do it a summary. So, I mean, given the sob story, if you like, I was badly bullied in school, really badly bullied. I was pregnant at 16. I was told every day I would amount to nothing. My self-esteem was in shatters. Somehow, some genius mentor got me to college. I ended up getting to uni, completed my law degree, went and worked for the European Commission. At 24, set up my cleaning company, which went on to make a few million, and then I closed that in 2023. I've had 2 years of doing absolutely nothing, but also everything I always ever wanted to do, ever. And now I'm about to set up a skincare business.
Right.
Voila.
Yeah, wow. So... yeah, let's get the fruitcakey stuff out there. So you've got a twin sister.
Twin sister,
and she's quite normal.
Yeah, she is. She's just so professional, and she's got a kid, and she's just bought a house, and she's actually finished a PhD. She's a psychologist. We call her Dr. Brownless, which blows my mind.
I heard her laughing in a Chinese restaurant.
Did you?
And I was like, Fran's in. And I was like, oh, it's like Fran, but she's on some sort of like calming drugs.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be your twin sister,
Yeah.
which I knew you had a twin sister, and it kind of twigged. And I was like, oh, you must be Fran's sister, of course.
Yeah.
And we had a good chat, but yeah, she's really
like,
quite...
who are you, Paul? We get this all the time. People are like, oh, hi, Brian. I'm like, no, I'm not. And we look so rude. It's so funny.
When you open your mouth and realise it's not her.
Yeah.
So where does your energy come from?
My energy, do you know what? I think it's that enthusiasm, isn't it? Like I just do not want to miss out on a trick. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I genuinely believe that we only have one life, and it literally runs through my veins. About 10 years ago, I was literally sat there thinking, I thought, if I'm 80 and maybe I'm on my deathbed, or I'm really poorly and, it's end of life scenario, am I going to regret X, Y, and Z? Am I going to regret not doing X, Y, and Z, or having done X, Y, and Z? At the time, I had absolutely no money. I'd gone back to live with my mum, and I was just so desperate to be an achiever. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know, I had nothing, I didn't know how to do it. So that's where the energy comes from. And when you kind of go through that journey of seeing that you can achieve things, you just get this fire, don't you? Like, oh my God, that felt so good. Let's go again.
To get to something.
Yeah, it's just such a thrill. It's a thrill. It's experience thrill seeking rather than jumping off a bridge or, oh, that sounded morbid. Bungee jumping.
With a bungee. Yeah. Well, that's a good analogy, actually.
Yeah.
Well, so you talk about, doing X, Y, and Z. How much X, Y, and Z have you done in your life? Like traveling, you've been to Dubai, you've done loads of that kind of stuff, haven't you?
Yeah.
You are impulsive.
So impulsive. I'll either do it because I want to experience something, even if I'm going to fail, or I'll do it because it just looks absolutely mint, and I might find out I don't like it anyway, but you can tick a box. It's like a lifelong bucket list. Everyone says, what's on your bucket list? Like, I haven't actually got anything on a bucket list, but I've got everything on the bucket list. Mm-hmm. So when I closed the cleaning company, the economy was in absolute turmoil, and our clients just wanted to find any way to save money. And I said, you know what? I've done 10 years, I've made my cash, I'm going. Take your contracts back, I don't want them. And that was such an emotional period. So I was like, right, I'm going to Dubai. And I spent an absolute fortune. We missed our flights. We did absolutely everything that we wanted to do. The Burj Al Arab, the Burj Khalifa. We were jet skiing all over the sea. We got invited. We ended up meeting like club owners at football. It was when the Man City were winning. I think I don't know anything about football, but they won the FIFA, the Champions League, and something else. And we were in Dubai for that. So we were with all the crowds and we were meeting all these club owners. So we were partying and getting all these free. We were like absolute queens. And the day we had to go, they were begging us not to go. And so we just didn't. We just stayed and just did more random stuff. It was, it was that sort of, I am going to go away and I'm going to spend loads of money. I'm going to F you to the construction industry. I am done. So yeah, it was mega. But yeah, travelling has just been, I think when you're young and you've come from, you've got limited opportunities and you just want to do everything. Every bit of money I've ever earned, I've gone, right, I'm going to Thailand, I'm going to Cambodia, I'm going to Asia, I'm going here, I'm going to Bali, and I go for a month and I go for 2 months, and then I'd come back and I'm like, right, let's make loads of money. Tick, 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 like more cleaners, more clients, more travel, and it's like, come on, I want to do it all.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
One of my favourite little kind of quotations, if you like, is Alain de Botton, the famous kind of travel writer and philosopher, said, the worst thing about going away is that you've got to take yourself with you.
Yeah.
But when you're away, I'm guessing you can probably just let your hair down and that's you and you're just enjoying yourself and all that kind of stuff. Like, but do you have an element of your mind always back in Blighty and what's going on at work? Or you do have those like monkeys on your shoulder when you go away.
100%.
My absolute dream is to be able to have a holiday where I've not got to take a day off it to crack on with paperwork or get caught up or even just be thinking. But I think the thing is with kind of fruitcakery type people is that you cannot help but be thinking about what's going on in the background.
Because you're a dreamer, aren't you? Yeah.
I went to do a hearing test when I was in the Navy, and they said I was sat in the cubicle getting it all done and everything, and afterwards she said, the doctor said, no, your hearing's fine, you're just not concentrating on what people are telling you. And I was thinking, but how can that be? Because if I'm front of centre with someone, I was thinking about this on the way in, I think it's just the amount of stuff that's churning round.
Constant.
The mad
it's
brain
like a little bird, and sometimes I'll
Yeah.
sit there and I'm going, shut the fuck up, Fran. Like, shut up. Like, I'll sit on the couch with my girlfriend and she's just so good at just chilling. I'll turn over and she's asleep. And I'm like, you're asleep? How? Everywhere, all over the house. And I'm sitting there and I'm researching this, I'm reading that, and I'm watching that, and I'm watching the telly, but I'm thinking about 50 million things. And she's got this thing now, and she goes, what are you thinking about? And I go, you know the Nazis in 1920 when they built that thing? And like, it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Can I swear?
Yeah, of course you can. You know what you need to be thinking about? Maybe microdosing mushrooms or something like that. Yeah,
I know. Sometimes I think I should start smoking weed. Me and Laura walk down the street, and if we can smell it from someone's garden, we're like, oh, it's so nice. And we go on this walk knowing someone's going to have it in the garden.
Yeah, I love that. I used to smoke quite a bit when I was in my 20s.
I'm
now
not a
I
smoker,
love the smell
really.
of it, but it turns me into a paranoid schizophrenic.
Yeah.
Literally one puff, you'll be too young to remember the adverts of nicotine. One puff and you'll be in my grasp.
You're joking. All my friends are on that Abbey School Fields being sick off a bucket. I've seen everything.
The conversation's gone exactly where I thought it was going to go. But like, if I ever smoke now, it just makes me absolutely paranoid. Like,
Have you been
worry
to
about
Amsterdam?
all of it. No,
I don't want to go. I don't want to see the tits.
I worry about all the things. I go to bed, apologise to Julie for being a terrible person, and thinking, no, not that bad. Well, I went round to a fella's house who was in a house share. He wouldn't stop smoking weed in the kitchen, so I had to go around and say, hey mate, I just got my new car years ago, and went round. And I said, look, mate, you can't be smoking in the kitchen. It stinks the full house out. Look, I get it. Smoke it outside, And he's like, do you fancy a reefer? And I was like, can I have a smell of it? Oh, I love the... Yeah, anyway, he used to smoke a bit. He's like, do you want to... So I had a couple of puffs and I had to drive my car home. And it was like, driving it home was like, that scene on The Wolf of Wall Street where he gets home in his Lamborghini and it's absolutely ruined.
He's crawling out of it. He smashed
it. I'm probably going to
up.
get arrested here, but I was driving back through town like at 2 miles an hour. Like,
That's
I had a couple of
Paul.
puffs and just went in my bed, and then I worry about having more debt than Africa and thinking of ringing Bono to do me a debt relief concert. Anyway, so going back to your school, your bullying, and all of that kind of stuff. Where did that come from? Because your sister never got bullied, did she? You were in different years or different parts of the year. Right?
Yeah, you get
houses.
separated into there was 4 different houses, so we actually didn't spend any time together in school. I actually was the most popular kid in like year 7, and then I think I was just really confident with it. And after about a month or something, I don't know, I can't remember, whatever, some boy kicked me, and I thought, F you. And I kicked him back, and he called me a horse for kicking him. He'll watch this now. Honestly, I've never let him live it up. And he called me a horse. I literally was like, but everyone joined in and then started like chanting horse-themed songs. I can't even remember what they are now.
Like Black Beauty.
Yeah, just like I can't even listen to that now. It could make me cry on the spot.
Yeah.
But that literally spread. Everyone found it hilarious. It spread between the whole school. I used to get literally 30 people chasing me on my bike. They'd ride up next to me and try and kick me off my bike. So I just got really good at bike riding. I was just pedal, and you go on a night out with everyone, as you do, walk in the street, meet at the street lamps at 4 o'clock. If you weren't there, you know, you had no friends. And I would still go to these things, but I'd end up being beaten up in a field somewhere, pissing myself because I'm so injured. Like, my nose is completely damaged off it. Like, you can probably see it underneath, but that's gross on a podcast. But yeah, it was just like absolutely mind-blowing. And then I started hanging out with like older kids from different schools. I think I was taking drugs at 13 and not going to school and mostly just completely skiving. No one knew where I was. No one cared where I was. There was no one bothered. I got really, really sick, and I used to the only control I found at the time was I just stopped eating, which is mind-blowing. And the days I did go to school, I had a nose full of coke, and I was smashing my head off a concrete floor because I was passing out. I'd go and see the doctor, and they would try and test me for anemia, and I'm like, I'm not in my head. I'm going, I'm not anemic. I'm in control. Do you know what I mean? I'm looking in the mirror and I'm seeing thin, and I'm thinking, you've got this. How bad is that? But it did give me that it was the only sense of control I had. And
do you mean anemic or bulimic?
No, I wasn't throwing up or anything like that. I just would not eat. I wouldn't eat a thing. I would struggle to put a carrot in my mouth.
See, that is like, you know, I might have said it on the previous episodes and stuff like that, but apparently the childhood trauma thing, like childhood trauma can be something as simple as your mum and dad not picking you up from school till everyone's gone out the playground. You're the only one stood there thinking, what the hell?
But I think as well,
catastrophising that your parents are dead in the car crash.
All the parents work, don't they? So if it's hard to juggle it all.
But your childhood trauma through bullying is actual, real, bona fide, full on. Yeah, like fear, like living in fear.
Absolute
and you get parts of your personality apparently that come up and protect those things, and they stay with you for the rest of your life.
But you know what the worst thing is? The teachers joined in. So I would try and go at the teachers and say, this is happening, I don't know how to deal with it. I mean, how old are you then? Like 10 or something. And one of them would just say, it's all right, get over it, and your horse. And I'm like, are you actually kidding? So I'm in a science class, there would be, some of my best friends actually chose to become the bullies because it was either be the bully or get bullied. Right. So if you were sat on the table with me, you were probably going to get bullied. And so in the end, my best friend, I won't mention names because it still hurts to this day, we spent every minute together before this. He pulled everyone to the other side of the room. So I was completely isolated on a table by myself and had 30 kids chanting this song, and the teacher, I think it was a Spanish class, the teacher was just watching, like, completely clueless as to what to do. So the easiest thing to do was just to not be there. So I was not educated at all. That common sense everyone has because they learn all this, well, I think bollocks that you learn at school. I didn't get that, and it wasn't until I think halfway through year 11, the final year, it just suddenly dawned on me. Someone's mum said to me, "You're not revising," and I was like, I have no idea what that even means. That word didn't mean anything to me, and then they told me what it meant, and it dawned on me that if I didn't get 5 C's or whatever it was, I was never going to go to college. I mean, I'd been pregnant the year before and had an abortion. I was hanging out with all these older kids from different schools and just probably being completely abused, let's be real. At that age, you shouldn't be doing things like that. And it just suddenly clicked, oh my God, I could get to college. So I got a mentor in school. I think it was Mr. Jeffries. I can't remember his name. I think that's what it was. Oh, Mr. Matthews.
Nice
and
bloke?
Yeah,
Good
he
bloke.
I'd never really met him before. I didn't even. It was like he came out of nowhere to save me.
I probably had to ring him. Special envoy to sort the Brownless out.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And he sat me down, and all these little teachers came out of nowhere to get me these grades. And I think I came out of school with I got a B in English, 4 C's, and then the rest shit. But who cares? I got to college, and I thrived. That was it. I just knew that was the little seed I needed. You're not worthless. You've achieved something completely off your own back, granted with some support, and you've got yourself to fucking college. How amazing is that? And I did law, psychology, applied business studies, where I set up a cleaning business.
Which college?
The Queen Elizabeth.
All right, so it wasn't a total
was
fresh start, because there will have been some kids. Which school were you at, by the way?
I was at Hummersnott.
Hummersnott, right.
Yeah, and a lot of the really awful kids actually didn't go there. It really was a complete fresh start. And some of my closest friends now I met at college. And some of the people who really inspire me now, who really listen to me when I need a hand, I met them at college. And I got 2 jobs, and I was studying. If I wasn't studying, I was in the library. I was up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I was studying. And I'd put my heels on, and I'd put my trendy clothes on, because I had 2 jobs, and I could wear those clothes. And I got myself to my classes, and I studied my little ass off. And when everyone was in the park smoking weed, I was in the library, and I was like, no, God damn it, I've got something to prove. And I was getting 100% in my classes, and it was putting this fire up my ass, like, come on, you've got this. Like, it was such an amazing feeling.
Validation.
And I went on and got a fucking law degree.
Yeah, great validation.
Like, what is that?
So I did the same as you at QE, apart from my grades went down to 8% in
you
business
were in the
studies.
field smoking weed.
Yeah, actually. and I had to go back to the school I'd come from in the sixth form there, which my dad had to pay for.
What do you mean went back?
Because I went to Barney, because I went to public school, because I'd come out of junior school, and my dad's like, wow, they're bad grades, terrible reports.
Yeah.
The full looking out the window thing, I won't go through them, but he's like, get up to that school and learn something. So I was never picked on at school, really, just by some of the older, like, really fierce lads.
How does that feel, Paul?
But yeah, well, because I was a townie, I used to like a fag and jump across into the Bose Museum for a smoke, and it used to be a bit of a, because I was like a small fish in a big pond in Darlow, but not that I was a big fish in a small pond at Barney, but I was like a not a rough kid, but I'd have a go if you were going to pick on me. It's like, that's a mistake. I found that some of the kids I did feel sorry for, even the biffy kids, the posh kids, the kind of dweeby kids, and I used to sort of stick up for them a little bit with the bullies. That gave me a sense of validation, well, not validation, but just helping out.
Were you the one that helped the ones
a little
being
bit of an
bullied?
equaliser, but then, but there was a time when a fella went into my dad's shop and said, your son's been holding my son down, making him admit that his sister's a prostitute. So it wasn't, but that was a bit of fun, obviously. But that's the thing, you see. Some kids are bullying other kids, and maybe they don't realise that they think they're having a laugh with them, and this, that, and the other. But if those kids haven't come from having loads of siblings that have a load of rough, tough, and all that kind of stuff,
but they don't know as well how much
would
more
take that more
is
seriously.
happening behind the scenes either. So that little joke is not just a joke anymore.
Nah, I read a book.
It's compounded, isn't it? Go on,
I read a book not so long ago called Born to be Worthless: The Power of Low Self-Esteem. It was by an author who was become a professor, and he actually said I had a really normal upbringing, and it was really quite loving and in a good thing. But it's just the baby, so young, literally 0 to 3, how that child perceives. It's kind of like giving its mum marks out of 10 for how much attention she's given it. So, some kids at that age might be kind of like, you've been fair enough. I'm not going to have too much trauma to carry forward. So whereas some kids just want more attention, and if they don't get that attention, they feel unloved, and it's mainly the mother's love. It's really quite interesting.
So you can get traumatized even just from
through lack of attention.
Maybe they're busy, they're washing the pots more or something like that.
Yeah, it's difficult, And this guy's like, I feel guilty because I've actually had a really good upbringing, but I still had massive low self-esteem.
Yeah, and it takes you till you're in your 30s to look back and understand it as well.
But you've kind of chucked all of your childhood in the recycling machine. and like
100%.
extruded.
It still fuels me now.
Yeah, like extruded something better out of it. Like I know you as like happy, jokey. I mean, one of the funniest videos that I've got on my phone. No, it's a voice note. I think I was leaving someone a voice note, and you were busy having a laughing fit. We were on our way somewhere. And I play that back when there's you and another girl called Claire McNeil, who's a good friend of mine, who just lost it laughing one day. So, and we were having a proper good laugh one day. Like your laugh. Like, you're enthusiastic as hell, you're smashing, you really are. But you've got a proper spicy side to you as well.
Oh, yeah.
Where if someone fucks with your shit, that's it. Like, woe betide, because the
control.
Cavewoman Club comes out, Mary Poppins with a baseball bat, and you're going at it. And I've actually seen you kind of smash stuff up, not physically smash stuff up, but like... And
it's
I don't mean this in a bad way.
Yeah,
like, but be like, okay, walk away from that, or like your business in COVID.
This is bullshit, I'm done.
On one hand, it was like, wow, like normally people go, this is bullshit, I'm done, and then they do something about it in a kind of let's see where we're at and progress kind of view. You kind of went, I'm done with that, I'm closing that business down. And I'd watched you go into a beautiful new
2,000 square foot
2,000 square foot unit, a real
kitchen.
progression for your business. You'd got everything laid out, you'd been in, you'd decorated, grafting like hell.
How funny.
Yeah, all the hours, all the vans outside and all of this kind of stuff.
Amazing, I was so proud of it.
Yeah, and I took that on board massively, and I was like, wow,
it inspired so many people.
You inspired me as a business person, like, and you were so much younger, and like, you know, we've become pals and all that kind of stuff. And you know, to see you do that was like, what? And then, and that's what I think is so missing in young'uns nowadays, without being like, you know, the youth of today. It's that drive and motivation.
Yeah.
That it does seem to be missing. But sorry, just to finish that story, you were like, actually, I'm done with this. I'm not getting paid off all these fucking building companies, and that is kind of like a control thing, and people like you don't like being controlled.
Didn't feel safe or secure.
Yeah, and you kind of went, right, you basically, not fire sailed it, but you had auctions, you gave loads of stuff away, and I was thinking...
It was a jumble sale,
wow,
it was
but
awful.
I was like, could you not change direction? And you were like, no,
Not
because
bothered.
X, Y, Z, and I'm going to go off and do that. And in a way, I admired you for that, you know, because it was like, and maybe other people would have struggled on with it for years and gone tits up. Whereas you kind of went, look, I've got money in the bank, I'm chopping the head off the snake, and I'm moving on.
How long do you fight a losing battle?
Oh, that's a great 10-year lease. You what? You're leaving?
Yeah, I know.
What's all that about? And, you know, so at the time, I think he was quite understanding with you.
Oh, he was gorgeous. Yeah. I still want that deposit back if he watches this. I forgot to ask. Anyway, but he was gorgeous.
Don't get your profit and loss sheet out.
I signed a 10-year lease, which is 150 grand liability, and I'd only been there. I think actually we didn't even get a year in.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, fuck this, I'm done.
Yeah.
How crazy is that? But we lost $500,000 revenue within what felt like an hour. And I said, we've just gone through COVID. I've just literally batted my head off a wall trying to make employees feel safe and secure. And then your clients, and it wasn't just us, it was all of the other trades in the industry, were basically told your contracts are going out for re-tender. If you don't come in cheaper, you're losing them. This signed contract that you pay 500 quid for solicitors to review meant jack shit. The loyalty of carrying people through COVID, building houses that they're underpaying you to build, means nothing to them. Getting paid 250 days after an invoice is sent all means nothing to them. And I just knew in my heart and soul, you have achieved everything in your wildest dreams now. You're not enjoying this. I felt sometimes so stressed that I was actually going to die. I would sit there and I'm like, I am physically unwell. I could feel the inflammation from the stress. I felt angry every single day. Any bit of bubbly personality that I had when I was travelling, that was the only thing that calmed me down. It would take me 2 weeks to get the shit out of my head from fucking Taylor Wimpey this and Bellway that and Miller Holmes that and bastards who won't pay you.
The quantity surveyors are briefed to not pay people, aren't they? I've heard.
Yeah, they get bonuses to not pay you.
Because you are effectively a subby on site.
You're a subby,
and you are there to be I don't know, like it's like...
You'll agree to 100 houses for X amount of price. They'll pay you once you've done them or on account or whatever. But there's always more to do, and the tendering process is absolutely ridiculous. You're all fighting a losing battle, but I never actually won tenders from tendering. I think we tendered about 100 tenders a year, which means they'll send out an appeal and say, or they'll send out a pack to all the subcontractors, price this, blah, 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 there'll be 3 to 5, whatever. We never won like that because I refused to go, well, we're in a competition, so I'm going to be the cheapest and make sure I get it. We always did site takeovers, so we would let them take on the cheapest, and we will have submitted prices, but with no intention of winning, and we'll just make sure that we're somewhere in the middle. So we were then the sort of next runner-up, so we always had the site that had about 6 months in or a year in, and everyone was kind of failing. The cleaners have done a terrible job, so it worked well for us.
So you're the type of lass that people would get to know from an early stage, that you do what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
Your staff are going to do what they say they're going to do. And if the staff don't do what they say they're going to do, you're going to roll your sleeves up and get the goddamn hell on site anyway to make sure that your company is doing what the hell it said it would do.
Yeah.
And that has made you into a good old hirer and firer, where I can imagine people that work for you that do everything, you know, well and do a good job. Great.
In theory,
if not,
yeah.
I think, you're a bit like,
think,
well, look, sorry, if you're not doing your job, you need to...
Yeah, I mean, when it got big, there was a real difficult point of it was just me and then all of these cleaners, and I really, really struggled at that point because I had a million things to do. I was up; it would take me like 2 weeks just to get the invoices out. Never mind picking the phone up to 30 to 60 sites that we were managing all around the northeast. It was just absolutely time consuming. I had the best time when I built a management structure, so it was just all that noise was blocked out by 3 or 4 people in the office where they were doing tender writing. Every single job in the business got took over by someone, and weirdly enough, I felt useless. And I think I became a worse manager when I had that layer because my ego got a bit bigger. I sort of felt like I was a bit invincible. I was very disconnected at that point to what we were actually doing. If I couldn't actually really price anymore, I had to teach people to price. And there's this one staff meeting that we had. One of the clients rang up and said, your cleaners have just mopped without sweeping, and it fucking sent me up the wall. Like, really? You can imagine these compounds just chucking a mop around. It's disgusting. So I brought everyone in for this team meeting, and I just had this circle of people staring at me. And I just died on the spot, and I was so angry and so pissed off. These cleaners were getting paid £2 or £3 an hour more than the competition. Normally, cleaning companies would make you drive your own car, bring your own equipment, you'd be self-employed, you'd have no benefits. These guys were on the highest rate that you can get in cleaning, all vans kitted out with absolutely everything they needed. All they had to do was get to the unit in the morning. That was it. And they'd all drive each other, and it was squads. It was absolutely amazing, the setup we created.
To organise that sounds to me what I like about doing property, or what I did used to like
about it.
Yeah. Just what I used to like about doing property before the government decided to pull landlords' pants down regarding taxation and stuff like that. But what was the great thing about it is that it's never passive, and there's always shit going on, but it's like it all stands still when you need it to, and you can go off and do what you want. But you're talking like a live mesh of like Snake's Wedding type people all like interacting and this, that and the other, and the amount of like,
do you know
I couldn't imagine
no one would ever
running 40
you've got
people.
2 different types of cleaning companies. You've got the maintenance, which is like office cleaning like this, coming at 10 o'clock. That's easy. Really easy to manage. You actually just put everyone on an app and you never speak to anyone. No, it's so
I was like,
easy.
why didn't you do more of that instead of closing your construction cleaning business down? Like, why didn't you just go more for that? And I remember the reason that you gave me at the time.
Construction at the time, it was a thrill, but you kind of go where our first contract, actually, let me tell that story. Right. When I had nothing, I wrote on a cheque, didn't I, 50 grand. And I said, oh my God, someone please make this happen for me. The first contract I ever signed was 49,950. And I really wish I asked for the extra 50 quid, Paul.
Yeah. I'll give you it back in cash just to say that. Yeah, but I think we can let you off with that 0.0.
But you go with the opportunities, don't you? So that was the very first big opportunity, and I took my first 100 houses on in Yarm. It was a beautiful site. And once you set up for that infrastructure, so we had all the window cleaning equipment, it's called reactive works. So you just jump in when they tell you to jump. Once you've set the infrastructure up for that, it's very difficult to then take those teams and build something else. The noise that we had every single day, one client could ring and say, Or can we change that? And you'd have to then change 10 vans worth of staff because one client changing something meant logistically everything was intertwined. So just the diary then would take another 2 hours to redo. We never had the luxury of being able to get a piece of technology and be able to pull things in and out and move. It just did. I tried about 6 different pieces of software. So
you were quite systemised. When I first got to know you, came in and gave me a load of advice on systemising and stuff like that.
I tried, but your businesses are a minefield.
Yeah, well, I think we're getting there right now, which is good.
But
do you know what? When Claire, my pal, came in and said, it's going to take about 18 months to systemise, I was like, no, it'll be done in 6 months. And then there you are, 2 years later.
2 years later, It takes a while.
What pisses you off about yourself? What would you change about yourself if you could?
Do you know what? Without saying, I wouldn't change myself, because I wouldn't. Things that I really don't like about myself that I do really try and control. Because of the way that awful time I have this constant. I love networking. I thrive off meeting new people, but because of that upbringing, that school environment, I always have this tentative sort of, are you a threat? Are you gonna bully me? Are you gonna rip this contract off me? Are you gonna slag me off to someone behind my back? Are you gonna put me down on a little pedestal, make me feel like shit? And that's always there. So for me to make friends, to let anybody in is probably 20 times harder than the next person. And then sometimes when you are in, because I'm a bit abrupt and I'm far too honest for my own good, but that's also a good thing, isn't it? I'll say things in the moment that I feel, but it might hurt someone's feelings. But on the other end of the foot, you will never ever second guess what I'm thinking. You never, if even the tiniest little thing, I'm like, I don't agree with that. But what I have got better at doing is going, Fran, you are not the be all and end all. Like, someone else's opinion, perspective, views, values, all do matter. And I have really, in the last probably 3 or 4 years, gone, it's not all about you, like it really isn't. And if we're all sitting here thinking we only care about ourselves, we do. Ultimately, we've all got bills to pay. We're all on a survival mission in life. We want to enjoy our life. We want to make money. We want to have friends and have experiences. And that's what we're thinking about. And if we get to build these communities around us, that's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
To have that little network of people that you can rely upon. And I think when you get older and you start really self-reflecting and going, oh my God, you are a bit of a twat, but you've got to
I'm gonna forgive you.
Don't punish yourself because there's reasons for it. Now let's tweak your personality and maybe hold back a little bit sometimes.
I think
it doesn't always need to be said, does it?
This is a well-known thing that I now do. Excuse me. Is I'll write a text back to someone, or I'll write a text to someone and not send it, and then
I've done the same thing this morning.
I put it in I write it as if I'm going to send it, and I want to say everything that I want to say in that moment. Then I delete it in case I go to open the message and send it by mistake and go, bollocks. But I put it in my Apple Notes under texts to send, and then if 24 hours later I still feel like the same, then I'll send it, but I never ever do. And if I read through that file, I haven't ever deleted it off. I don't think there would be some terrible messages in there that
because in the moment you just get so heated, don't you? Like
I did a course a few years ago, and like you are a shoot from the hip kind of person. Yeah, and I've learned over the last few years, probably I'm getting a bit long in the tooth. I'm much more calmer in the face of adversity, and I don't say things like previously. Especially when I left the Navy and had a real problem with the way that civilians went on. It was like, you've got to ask them with a lovely, well-written request form with a ribbon on it to say, can you please go and do that? Whereas in the Navy, you used to like, go down that bilge, mate, clean that with a bag of rags, see you in the gantry,
this is it.
we'll
No
have a few
one's coming to
sherbets.
save us. Shit needs doing, and that's all I think about.
People can selectively ignore what we would call in the Majesty's Forces a direct order, but when you come out in Civvy Street, you can't call shit a direct order.
Like that.
But hey, but that's where systems come in, and accountability and tasks, and Asana, Podio, ClickUp, all that. If it's written down with a timeline next to it, it's got to be done. But and so that a lot of verbal stuff doesn't get done, like stuff that you ask people to do. I find it's like, because and then
It
the
just slips
excuse
the
is always,
mind.
well, we're so busy. But it's like, okay, well, you know, I'm the worst for having to write everything down and then
You had
not
a
getting my
system
stuff
where
done.
you were doing staff task things, didn't you?
Yeah, in
Did you
ClickUp.
get that set up?
Well, we've now got. I like ClickUp, and everyone
Yeah.
else likes Teams. But I look at Teams, but Teams is boring.
I can't get
so
Teams.
So ClickUp for me is the actual one, and yeah, I just find it more. Yeah. So, but I did a course a few years ago called The Living Leader, and it was like leaders create other leaders, like managers create other managers. So management is doing things right.
Yeah.
Leadership is doing the right thing.
Yeah.
So what I've learned to do is to step back, and that monkey that's wanting to jump out of your chest and berate, it actually feels good to be able to hold that down, because I had it, in the office the other day where, I won't say who or mention any names, anything like that, but it's like you were really calm the other day when that thing happened, and you just da-da-da. And like inside I was thinking, bollocks.
I wasn't.
That was a
I was
massive mistake.
fuming.
Yeah. But you don't, and I've realised for all you get to put your emotions out there, and let someone know how pissed off you are about that.
Yeah.
It doesn't do you any favours. It just
Not in the
erodes
workplace.
your relationship with that person.
Yeah.
If you can keep your cool and say, okay, that's a mistake, because I have the expression, look, if you point the finger of blame, 3 fingers point back at yourself.
You
right?
always say that.
And if I haven't got the system in place to make sure that you don't make that mistake, or I haven't asked you to put that system in place to make sure that mistake doesn't happen,
100%.
that's on me.
Yeah,
And so in that respect, we all learn something, and then when
Yes,
you're like,
professionally.
can you work Saturday or something like that, you've got more brownie points, Brownless points to go back to it. But the thing is now, though, your progression is you don't have to worry about that necessarily, apart from off delivery men, suppliers and that kind of thing, because you don't actually employ anyone at the moment right now, right?
And
Tell us
it's
about your new venture.
absolutely amazing not to employ anyone. When 10 years of having people relying on you at an age where you've never done it before, I never had a corporate career or anyone working underneath me. I was not qualified to be managing all these people. Amazing with the clients, but I've had to learn. And I think when I do come to hire again, which I will pull all of that experience and make a brand new system on how we do things. So, but I am really, really enjoying this very slow wave. Well, I say slow, I've put myself through 4 degrees in the last year with cosmetic formulating, manufacturing processes. There's nothing I haven't seen.
Not 4 actual degrees. You haven't been to university and
but I
condensed
mean,
courses.
knowledge
Right,
is it's out there, and there is mini courses and micro courses that you can do. And if there's a module you don't want to do, you can sack it off and go to the next one.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think that's the power of the internet and the world now. There is global courses out there, and if you're smart enough, you can go, actually, that's tailored to the US. I don't need that bit. But the information I've learned on chemistry and formulating is perfectly practical. I'm going to take that away, and you just become, I have in the last year and a half become an absolute sponge to all of this new material. And
because you're obsessed. You are an obsessed person. That's one of the things I really like about you. Like, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it right.
I love getting in that hole of
Do you know what I really like about you as well is you don't mind going on Facebook with a face like a smacked ass.
What are you saying? I look like shit all the time.
No, like, obviously you're looking your best today.
Yeah.
You're a bonny lass, but you don't mind going on Facebook with no makeup on, saying, I feel like a bag of shit today, and this has happened, because I think that you know deep down that you're helping other people by doing that. I mean,
because I'm not sat like this on a morning, or if I'm in the unit and
like
I'm making something, I've got a pinny on and I've got gloves on and goggles. I've not got any makeup on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also I'm product testing all day, so I'm constantly full of oils and
which is good, because not a lot of, like the makeup thing with women, it's really addictive. Like, because you look your best with your makeup on, you always want to look your best, like for most women, and therefore you're not going to go downtown without a stitch of makeup on predominantly. And
do you know what?
And
though?
that
I've
your
never
launch
worn
do,
that much until now, and I'm older, and a lot of women will relate to this. I'm going, do you know what? I'm getting older. Your skin does change, and this is where this came from. This business, I was like, I'm depressed. I want to feel better about myself. So I went on some makeup courses and started learning how to dress my face, paint my face properly like an artist, and all the directions and colours and things that you can do. And it just makes you feel better, doesn't it? But I will still go online and 90% of the time look like shit, and I don't care. Why would you care?
Yeah, so your business is called Salvage?
I'll say it the Spanish
Yeah,
way.
yeah, go on.
Salvaje.
Salvaje, right. Well, there won't be anyone in Darlington calling it that.
No,
Salvage.
we'll butcher it. So,
Salvage.
So the worst pronunciation I've heard is salvave or so, like salvage or something. Salvage. Salvage.
Free the jazz.
I'm like, oh, Jesus. So I love Spain, and obviously it's all natural products with natural ingredients. So I wanted to find something along the word natural without saying natural, because that's fucking boring.
I notice you asking for, in a way, maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, but asking for validation. So you are one of these people who don't take it the wrong way, but you're under the love spotlight now. But what it is with you is you do look for that validation and you ask for everyone's advice.
Yeah.
Because there might be a piece of advice in it. Because you're pretty much 99% in everything that you do, and you are looking for that bit of advice where you're saying, what does this name sound like, everyone? What's this spelling look like? What does this font typeface look like? All of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But generally you'll stick with what you thought in the first place. But it is nice to go out there and ask other people's opinions.
Yeah, you do need market research to sort of see, well, I've made this thing and I probably should have gone canvas on the streets and asked what people thought of it, but I wanted, because I had such a tough time, I think I had like 4 different versions of the logo, which is ridiculous. No one's business is successful because of a logo or even a name, and I just wanted something that I enjoyed and it just resonated with the business. Like, what the hell does Elemis mean? What does Morrison's mean? Saying it all means nothing. Your personality of your brand comes through when someone receives an item or a service. That's your branding. So I got all this criticism, and I thought, do you know what? I really do care about the opinions, but from my experience, I got started in a cleaning business called Sparkle Cleaning or something like that, and I went on to make millions. And, we were then called QSR. That was my other business that I set up, and that did absolutely amazing. That's still running now. What does that mean?
Well, someone said about my brand once. Someone said about my brand, with it being Verve, but it's quite blocky, and it is a misspelling of the word.
Your name is
Verve,
like art.
Verve, but we spell it VURV. And a guy sort of said to me one time, well, you can't actually even see what it says on the signs. And I was like, well, actually, if you read down on the sign, it does say Verve, online, and or the website. And actually, though, I said to him, but an interesting thing is that if your subconscious mind sees something that it can't decipher, it'll be waiting until the next sign where you might slow down and actually read what it says. But it will stick with you because it creates something called gestalt.
Yours is a head-stopping sign.
Yeah.
When I drive down the street and I see Verve, obviously you're arty, I'm arty. I think your boards are the best boards in the whole country. It's a piece of art in front of someone's house.
Yeah.
And why not? Why not put your personality? It's only a bloody board that says for sale. Why not make it pop?
Absolutely.
And you want it to pop, you want it to turn heads. So why not?
We use local artists and some graphic designer generators.
Shall I put some boobs on it for you?
Because why not? I actually got
why not?
For our new HQ on the corner of Duke Street in Darlington, I've actually got Lucas Roy, the local artist, to sort of deface a couple of them, like with his own little bit of graffitiism.
That's
just temporary things. But then I want artists to come in, and it's going to be like loads of local artist stuff hung on the walls when we actually get it done up and stuff like that. I was thinking of making it into a bit of an art gallery until I'm able to back to brick it and then put a load of artwork in there. And
can I put mine in?
Of course you can.
Oh my
100%.
God! There's a couple of pieces that I'd make some prints.
Tell me about your art, because I think that was. I think you're artistic. Are you doing less art now? Because I think your artistic outlet is
now my
your
business.
business, because it is more creative. You are happy as a pig in shit, aren't you? When you're doing all of your soap slicing and you're mixing up and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So with the soaps, I mean, I'm about to make a Victoria sponge looking soap, which is squirty cream on top and a jam layer in the mid. It's beautiful. I think with art, it's a complete passion thing, and I've gone from this. I think I was so stressed in 2021 or something. I started painting, it was rubbish, but I just kept doing it because it felt so good. And then now I've actually been able to create these really detailed charcoal, even like a bit scrappy sort of oil paintings and all of this. And the end result is beautiful, and it's just for me. It's not for anybody else to go, I love this. But people have messaged me and said, I'll pay you to make something, like 4 times now. Or I've put something online and they've asked to buy it, and I haven't. There's a print shop who actually has 2 of my pieces. By the way, this is an older man with glasses. He's a design expert with a canvas with boobs that now just sits on his desk, because I gave him it 2 years ago and I never went back. With art, I think you can do it for like, it's one of those things, you might do it for, I'll do like a 4 hours intensive, and then I can't look at it again for another week. Right. So for me personally, it will take me 20 years, and this for me is a really long game. In 20 years' time, I'm going to be drawing your face more detailed than it would even look in person. And this is the longest game I'm ever going to play, and it's that, the marshmallow test.
Oh yeah.
So I can have 1 marshmallow if I have it now, but if I wait 10 minutes, I can have 2. And this is the beauty of, I'm just quietly, slowly learning something for my own beauty, for my own self, my own soul. Yeah. It's filling my fire. And when am I 34 now? When I'm 54, fuck me, that's just ages away, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I keep doodling away in the background, and I keep posting. Just imagine. I mean, if what I've made now is sellable, you're compounding your skill set. Yeah. Well, so thankfully, I've found a way to be artistic in my job now, which is it's a double win, if you like. I'm like, I'm creative. I'm getting paid to be creative. It's amazing. It's
a better outlet, mate. I mean, I've changed my perspective on things and chasing the shiny penny and all of that kind of stuff over the last few years. I mean, I've got a bit of an escape ramp over a period of time. I can't just sort of sack it all off now, and I've got other responsibilities and stuff to finish. But like the thought of being able to get a little cottage out in the country, smash it to pieces, put it back together, get some workshops and all of that kind of stuff. I'm like, give me that by 55-year-old or 60.
Oh, that's the dream, isn't it?
Tell me next year.
I can just imagine 57. A little painting studio on the balcony.
Yeah, and it's about now just kind of getting a camper van and travelling Europe. And I've been watching this couple.
When are you going to do that? You've been saying this.
Like literally within about 2.5, 3 years. 100%, keeping it flexible. Like, you don't need big houses and all cars and stuff like that. No. It's bollocks, actually. So I've been watching this couple called Strick and Fran back-to-back B2B adventures.
Strick and what?
Strick and Fran. He's like Strick, Australian, and she's Fran is Italiano. And they just hop around the coast of Australia on this little boat, adventuring, spearfishing, fishing. Wow. Sent you it the other day. You obviously don't read my messages.
You send me so much stuff.
Our WhatsApp timeline's about like as high as Mount Everest. But when we get on the back and forth, but like it's just amazing what they're doing. I think how much would you need a year to do that?
But you can have
Not
that
a lot.
now, though, can't you? Like this is the thing. Like,
when I've seen my responsibilities through.
People like me and you.
I do want to set up a kid's home.
Most of what we do isn't financial. It's the thrill of the goal itself and hitting that goal, and that's kind of holds you back if you let it go on too long, because you're missing some of the most basic qualities of life. I'm always trying to stay very connected to. I don't mind wasting that 10 grand because it's absolutely not about the money, it's about the experience. But at some point, all I want is a camper van or a boat, or I just want to sit there and do nothing and read and just enjoy life. And the other goal might just be doing art classes for people, because you've lived a life full of thrill and you've paid your house off and you've used the cash to buy something in Italy for £1, renovated it. I'd love that, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, you find your purpose, and your purpose, like,
That should be everyone's life goal, is to find your purpose.
Make £10 million or something like that. It's like, look,
it's
what do you actually need? And
you don't need £10 million.
That post I did the other day on Facebook about like, how to be a farmer how to be a hunter in a farmer's world. It's like when we were just hunters, we only took what we needed, and when we became farmers as humans, we pretty much took a lot more than we needed and learned trade and all of that kind of stuff. And there's benefits to that, but then after a certain point, it's just the amassing of crap for no great reason, apart from to just have to get rid of it all when you finally realise that actually you need a shitload less, and you need freedom.
I've been in this point now going, do you know what, my mortgage is up for renewal, I'm still on the fancy 1.9% interest rate buzzing. I thought, the amount of equity in my house, I could go and buy a 2-bed apartment outright and be so chilled with that, but I'm getting addicted to this beautiful 4-bed house that I've renovated. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm so proud of it. But that mortgage is going to go on and it pulls you down. And I don't need 4 bedrooms. Why don't I go and get 2 bedrooms and have no mortgage? And it's that holding on to that thing that you've achieved, isn't it? I think I moved house like 25 times in the space of 10 years. So this is my yeah.
Obviously not that many, but
no,
still
it
a lot.
is.
Really?
I actually think it's more.
Why?
Various different reasons
Through
that obviously
houses,
I don't particularly want to go into, but that starting life and then moving into sort of uni and then renting and moving and all the rest of it. I did 5 years in Liverpool. In that time, I had more than 10 places to live in that time. And then before that, there was a load of stuff I won't go into today. But yeah, seriously, it's absolutely... So now I'm firm on the ground with this thing that for the last 10 years I've put all of my sort of trauma into it and gone, no, this is mine, I'm going to make it beautiful, I'm so proud of it. I'm doing the slowest renovation in history, but it's slowly the most beautiful house on the street. But what's the point in it? When I've worked hard, I could just go and get rid of it, live in something smaller. But I love the $3,000 couch I've got in the living room and the $3,000 couch I've got in the snug that I never sit on because it's always too cold to sit in there. It's just hoarding these emotions around you that you don't need.
You've put the graft in for it, though. But, yeah, I mean, going forwards, I mean, you know, tell me your take on the government's treatment of entrepreneurs and business people.
Don't.
Should
When
I
I
not have got you
first,
started?
10 years ago, when I first went into business, they were just changing the dividend taxes. I think you got something like $2,000 dividend free or whatever it was. It's all bollocks. Like, to me, what's it going to give you an extra 200 quid when your VAT bill comes in for 15 grand every quarter? This 200 quid and all it's... They've put it now so that if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a limited company director, whether you've got staff or not, you're earning the same as somebody who is employed. When you look at the figures, you see all this crap online about employ yourself as a limited company director and only pay $3,000 tax on 50 grand. That's not true because your corporation tax is 19% or 25%. And then you've got the national insurances and everything and your pensions and all of that. And then it's going to cost we used to pay $4,500 a year in accountancy fees, never mind taxes. So you've got all that, and then you've got your $3,000 tax and your student loan tax. So yeah, they're right, but they're also very wrong. So being employed on 50 grand a year, 100 grand a year looks very similar to being a director. They've squashed that line to the point where there's absolutely no point taking the risk financially. You're only taking the risk because you want to. Do you see what I mean? So there's where's the financial incentive?
I think for entrepreneurs, like generally fruitcakes in general, we're pretty unemployable.
Oh,
like
100%.
I wouldn't want to employ me. It's like
can't.
I'd put more hours in than everyone else, but like, you know, it wouldn't necessarily
to do
be
one box of a business and not 50 of them.
Yeah, do you know what? It just feels like I've spent 30 years getting my portfolio to where I needed it to be to then get some nice capital appreciation, and every single piece of meat in it that you know, from an income perspective.
Blows my mind.
It's nice that if property prices go up 3% a year, you put a decent amount on your balance sheet, but the problem is all of you just want all your cash flow off you. Like I've got a 70%, 80% plus effective tax rate on 2/3 of my portfolio because I bought it in my solely owned name. But it's like, well, you could have done something about that years ago. And it's like,
but
well,
what a waste in the country.
In a way, I've allowed it to creep up on me for the reason why I've been so busy providing much more people with fantastic accommodation, and I didn't have the however many $100 grand to and wouldn't have for ages anyway to be able to port it across into a limited company to then pay less tax for it to take 6 years to get that money back for then another politician to get in and actually reverse the tax laws for landlords.
They
And it's
changed
like,
the laws. How are you
stuck.
supposed to manage on that?
Do you know what I think? They kind of like, you know, if we assume that we are some sort of ADHD, because and to get a diagnosis for that takes between 3 and 5 years. So it's like I'm never going to go and do that. So that's why I'm wanting to disrupt.
It's
that
not going to change who you are, really, is it? You're still
but
carry
it's
on,
like, but you can actually get some quite good medication. That's the thing, and it does. I was talking to a lad this week that said send me some of them pills, mate. No, but I was talking to a lad this week that he said it's completely revolutionised his life being diagnosed.
Has it?
And, and having
How?
this because the drugs that they give you, they're quite mild, but they can really change you. But I've done a little test strip,
I know.
and it sent me. It was brilliant. Able to do everything a lot more focused. It was like, have you ever seen the film Awakenings, where there's the people? It's like Robert De Niro and Thingy Williams are in it.
No, I've
Robin
not a clue.
Williams. Yeah. Anyway, well, these people are in this kind of mental home, like in a something atonic state. What do you call it? State.
Cationic or something. Yeah.
And he's like, but I'm sure they're still there, and I can. And he tests this drug with them, and all of a sudden they're awake again, like
No
living like
way.
humans. But then I think it's a long time ago since I've seen it. But then the drug gets pulled, and these people have to. And Robin Williams is fighting to get this drug actually introduced properly, so these people can always live a normal life. So he's taking Robert De Niro out, who's been sat like that for years, and he's taking him out and checking chicks out. And
it's funny, we're on this topic 'cause my friend in Liverpool came to me today. He's gone through a private diagnosis and he's been diagnosed ADHD.
Yeah.
So that was only last night. So today I was like, how do you feel? Because they've offered him meds and support, and he said, I haven't got a frigging clue.
Yeah.
I think it's confusing to tell yourself you're ADHD for so long because you're struggling with various things, to then actually get the diagnosis and go, oh, bloody Nora.
There are side effects. There are side effects of some of them, but then they would tune that to suit you so that you didn't end up getting depressed. I was like, after 3 days of taking it, I was like,
Did you get
I've had a really
depressed?
good, after a while.
How does ADHD actually make you feel?
So let me just sort of finish that story. Sorry, with that awakenings thing, obviously that's a massively drastically like, what do you call it, analogy. But it does awaken part of you that's like, I really want to do my emails.
Yeah.
Which normally you're like that, no, like let me do 58 other things before I actually have to sit down and go through that torture.
Yeah.
And, I think there's 7 different types of ADHD and all that. And yeah, I could go, to the ADHD, what's it called, Foundation over in Liverpool. And it's just like, but when, when am I going to do that? And then you've got to go back 3 times and, I don't know.
Yeah. It's a lot of work to get to the end result, isn't it?
Yeah.
And waiting and things like that.
So, right, what would you change about society today?
Society, it depends which society.
Just making these questions.
Do you know what? No, honestly, I think that the way we have constantly changing governments is the worst way. You would not put a different CEO in a large corporation every 4 years because a long-term vision takes 10 to 20 years. You just don't do it. Dubai have a king who had a vision 30, 40 years ago. He has seen it through to fruition, and look at what an amazing country. And I'm not just talking free taxes for the people, but you cannot just go, okay, we're going to have Keir Starmer come in and he's going to make all these shitty false promises. Why we allow these lies to be put on a manifesto to be retracted within the first 6 months?
There should be a penalty for that.
There
shouldn't
should be. These
really
people should be in prison.
Because we all know that they're lying. We all know that what they're promising isn't going to happen, and yet what happens 6 months after they come in
and we're all
and they
like
go,
this,
oh,
going
we found
fucking
all
bastards.
this, so we've got to bin it off. It's like, no, actually, whatever you there should be a rule, shouldn't there?
Yeah.
Like, your party's going to have to give up £1 million for every U-turn.
It's mind-blowing. Yeah. But then how do we change it?
Well, they're all a bunch of fruitcakes, aren't they? I mean, the thing is, I was hoping that Trump was going to make a massive good difference, and it's early days yet, but then he is hitting people with a very big stick, and in a way he's making stuff happen, but also that's going to be pissing a lot of people off, because all of those people who are affected by those tariffs, where all of a sudden China doesn't want their products, so he's going to be pissing a lot of people off.
I've got to say, I absolutely love Elon Musk going in and looking at the books and going, you're spending too much money, what do you need to get rid of? That is absolutely genius.
Yes.
Like any business should go in and say, what on earth are you spending on picking that up for, whatever. I think Trump's bullish, this is who we are and what we're doing, love it. But I think he's crossing a few lines. Obviously, I'm now in the LGBTQ community. Not that I have a clue what that means. But he's took away a lot of women's rights, a lot of abortion. Abortion is now illegal for women. All of this stuff is going on.
He's a disruptor, though, isn't he? That's his thing.
He's
a disruptor.
That don't need
I admire
crossing.
that. Right? But and also, I just feel like most humans, if you're part of the other side, they don't give you a chance. Like, look, okay, so it's going to take a disruptor to sort out what is going to happen in the UK, because and a lot of everyone. Like, such a lot of people think Farage is a complete dick, etc., etc., etc.
I think he's going to get it done.
But the thing is, it's like, but look at the figures. Look at the amount of support now that Reform is getting, because people are just sick of what's what. It's like, and there are, I'm serious when I say, like, when I am done, if I do have to sell up or for whatever reason, like, I'd rather go and pay the same amount of tax in a sunny country.
Yeah.
You know, rather than walk
'cause
out
it's
the
not
front
like-
door,
yeah.
get pissed on by rain, it'd be freezing. You know, come across the
They
same
stand
shit.
up
And
in Parliament and say, like, they genuinely believe this is a great place to do business. And I do agree with that. I've had all the opportunities that I've ever wanted from this country. Grateful for it. But there is sunnier places to do it, isn't there? We're not doing it with a massive smile in our face, drinking a cocktail after work in a beer garden. I worked in Spain, and that's all they did. They'd go to a pub on the 2-hour lunch break and have, like, there'd be hundreds of people there just sitting with a cerveza and enjoying each other's company. They'd go back to work for 4 hours and then go to a tapas bar after work.
Yeah.
The culture and community, and they say that they're not as productive. What the fuck are they productive for? They're going to work, they're paying the bills, and they're having a good life. So what are they who are they producing it for if they're not producing it for themselves? What more do you need to produce other than the minimum that you need to have a good life?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
When you go on holiday, you come back and think, I need to do
move.
more of that, or I need to buy a little place there, or why do I need that big daft house?
But Brexit's made that really difficult,
yeah, I mean,
hasn't it?
Spain's kind of squashed, or is announcing squashing. Mind you, I think it might not happen, mightn't it? Where they're going to squash.
Squash what?
They're going to make it really expensive for people outside of the EU to buy holiday homes there. But Portugal's got some good tax breaks and stuff like that. I mean, apparently an extra 4,000 millionaires per year are now leaving the UK. It's in a way, it's because, I think predominantly because of the insults that you get, you know,
tax the rich.
when you call, it's that's insulting, but also when it's like, yeah, we are going to tax you more. But also we're going to say that people that derive their income from investments are not workers. Like, how can Keir Starmer call me a not worker? Yeah.
Do you think we should be taxing people at all?
I think we should all have one flat rate of tax. It's like if you go to Hong Kong, I think they charge, years ago, my uncle was talking to a fella there and he said, you know, how do you what's the tax, the keen tax stuff that you have to do to not pay too much tax? And the guy's like, everyone just gets charged 10%, so we just pay it. How nice would that be if we just got all 20%? Why should it?
I like that.
A fella said to me once on a group chat, we're having a bit of a argy-bargy, and he said, like, if you're lucky enough to earn 100 grand a year, you should be happy to pay everything, like to lose all of your personal allowances and this, that, and the other. And I said, well, lucky enough. I said, I could put 10 people against the wall that I know that earn over 100 grand. And if you can point at one of them that's lucky, I'll eat hay with the donkeys.
Look at, there's no
like,
such
there's
thing
no
as
such
luck.
luck.
What's that phrase? Planning, it's yours.
In every adversity lies a... prior preparation prevents a... No. Planning?
I don't know.
Go on.
I don't know. It's something about planning.
It will come to you.
I need another tea.
Listen, what questions do you want to answer?
What
Is there any
questions do I want to
that
answer?
you want me to ask you? What do you want to get out there?
What do I want to get out? Where?
Yeah, what education can you give the young'uns? What
education that I can give the young'uns? Do you know what? I mean, when I grew up, we didn't have everyone inspiring us on Instagram. It's all there to be seen now. I had to read a book. I read a book called The Secret, and that blew my brain. I think it's quite a basic book now. Everyone will have read it. But at the time, we couldn't scroll Instagram and be motivated by someone with a bra and a cleavage who was saying, go live your life. But on a serious note, if there is a plan, if anything's been seeded into your head, you have to follow it. And especially when you're young, you're more fearless at 24 or in your teenage years when you've got nothing to lose. For me doing this right now, this new business at 34, I'm 100% self-funded. I am absolutely terrified because there's actually more to lose now. I do have a mortgage and I've got a family life. So that's the biggest thing I would say to kids and younger people. Just do it and fail fast. And you see that all the time online. So it's almost pointless even saying it. It's such a cliche now, but go out and fail. And the more times you fail, the chances of you succeeding.
The less time you fail in later life, I think, if you're prepared to fail more as a young'un.
Yeah.
But I feel that so many young'uns now have got this, because their life is exposed on socials and all of that kind of stuff and with whatever. You know, it's like the ability to sort of smooth over the fact if you do have a failure is harder.
Very hard.
I just find now that young'uns nowadays are just really fearful of any kind of entrepreneurial activity.
Yeah.
You know, and or having a go or going out and washing cars. I mean, I had this young lad who was a son of a tenant of mine. And I caught him on CCTV smashing my fence in across the other side of town. And I put it on Facebook, and she's like, that's my son and my nephew, Paul. I was like, don't worry. I took him out in one of my little classic cars, and I said, you could have this car by the time you're 25, son.
Yeah.
If you take that mad brain. Both my sisters said, when I put it on my family group chat, they put, he's come straight from the Paul Milligan School of vandalism. but he, anyway, so yeah, I understand those kids with too much energy and running around and smashing stuff up and all that kind of stuff. It's like, okay, so how are you going to, what penance are you going to pay for that? What I want you to do is get a set of bucket sponges and get yourself a paper round and get yourself out of bed and get some graft done and literally learn the law of compounding. And you've only got to
I used to knock on doors and offer to wash cars.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
have a bucket.
3
and
weeks
just
later, checked in with him. I'd give his mum the instructions as well. Make sure he gets a bucket sponge. Make sure he gets out of bed. Make sure he gets that paper round he was talking about. 3 weeks later, no progress whatsoever. Why? Because he didn't feel comfortable knocking on people's doors, and he couldn't get himself out of bed.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if you can't, there's only one person that can change you, right? And that's you.
Yeah.
And
I tell you what, the thing that really, really changed me years and years ago was realising that no one cares about me. And I don't mean that as in no one's looking and no one's giving a shit or loves me. I mean, you sitting here right now, you couldn't give a toss what's going on in my life to the point where you're actually judging me for the things that I'm doing.
That's not fair.
No, but I don't mean that in a way as like you don't care. We're friends, of course you care. You want me to succeed. But I mean it as in we're tunnel vision. Like, yes, we're watching out for each other, but my next action is just your next sort of viewing platform. I don't know how to say this without it coming across.
I know what you mean.
So but when people learn to really seriously stop caring about what people think, if you don't put that first shit version out, you're not going to get to the good one. You have to. So I started learning videography about a year and a half ago, proper videography, and editing and trying to get my clips right. They're still a bit mediocre,
good, yeah.
But the first one was absolutely shit, and I archived it. No one liked it. No one commented. Do I care? Couldn't give a toss. And this is it's that fear of putting that first shit version out and just not caring. And the second one will get a little bit better, and then you'll get a little bit better. And it's that compounding of self-skills that, again, over time...
Start now, get perfect later.
Yeah, just put it out there.
I've just done it, Fran. Like, we are a living embodiment today of the fact that I have, through whatever reason, not done the intros for this. I really struggled doing the intros. I can talk all day long, but I can't read off a list, and it felt wooden, and then just such a lot of water goes under the bridge when you're not paying things the attention. This podcast should have been launched
months ago.
Yeah, months and months and months ago.
So
and
when
of course,
is it
I've wanted it to the sponsors lined up and and I should have just gone. Hey, well, the Love Podcast, blah blah blah. Got it done.
Yeah.
And of course, and I've been ridiculed for it. Like the amount of negative emotion that I've had built up in the background because of not doing it would have far outweighed the negative emotion from doing a bad job of the intros, if you see what I mean. So, like, as kind of neurodivergents, if you like, we're very good at giving advice, aren't we?
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes terrible at taking it. But I've devised a system, right? And it's like, who am I to put this out there? But I am going to put it out there because I feel like it's my kind of purpose, and it's called Mono. And it's about, you are generally saying, what's that? I haven't said before. Fran, by the way, when I mention this, do that. Because I haven't told you about it.
It was for the cameras.
But let's see if I can pull it up here. We'll kind of end on this. Is a great thing to end on. Let me see if I've got it. So it's about,
system.
Right, so I've narrowed it down to 50 million different headings. No. Belief, consistency, and part of this comes from hypocrisy, but I'm happy to say that part of this comes from my hypocrisy of if it's taken me 32 years to get to where I have now, I could actually do it in 15 if I'd have followed what I actually knew I should have been goddamn following when I was going back and doing the courses 30 years ago. But I also read up on this stuff a lot, and I know a lot about it, and I feel like I want to bosh it out there. But so belief, consistency, visibility, confidence, alter ego, interesting one, brain chemistry, nutrition, movement, rest, jettison, compartmentalization, dynamics, ideation, time target, accountability, alpha male, alpha female.
This is the ADHD version of a process.
Tapping, EMDR, which is like an eye movement technique for chilling you out and solving your problems. ASMR, interesting one. Noise and frequency, entrepreneurship, mastering the self, and reticular navigation and serendipity.
Wow.
Well, yeah, exactly. So
I like the compartmentalising really helps me to focus. If I need to I've very much learned to control myself in the sense of, if there's something I need to do, I will literally just put my phone on the side. You know me, I change my number every 2 years. If it rings too much, it's getting changed. Because everyone has an email address, everyone has 4 social media channels. You don't need my number. You don't need to get me on demand. So I'm going, right, stop with the noise, stop distracting me. I'm doing this. So the compartmentalising for me is the best one. But you've put so many amazing words on there, and I don't really know half of what they are.
Honestly, mate, I have got Apple Notes. Like, I've got 3,000 Apple Notes, probably about, I don't know, a couple of hundred, which I regularly use to bash information in, when I've read books and stuff like that. And it's like, it's time to get it out there, because I'd love to, teach people what I've done wrong and what I've done right. And I've actually had a really good long conversation with a fella called Jack Black, who I used to go and see. I used to pay to go to weekends to go and see him. A Scottish motivational speaker. I used to love him, and I used to go like once every 5 years for a refresher.
Yeah.
And what kind of turned me upside down a bit is I was on a table of about 6 people, and I was like, "Oh, have you been before?" And they were like, yeah, we've been like 6 times." And I was like, "Oh, you must be really smashing it then." And they're like, No, but definitely this time." And I was like, what is it about humans that makes us so goddamn inconsistent? And what makes us not obey our daily thingamabobs that we should be doing every day in those small increments? So I feel as if this is a system of self-mentorship. Yeah. Because I have this thing, you're on your own, but the community, you're on your own, but with us. Yeah. But also, you are your own best. So you are your own best personal trainer with the help of a personal trainer. You are your own best mind coach with the help of a mind coach. You stop outsourcing your responsibilities to improve yourself to other people, thinking they'll be able to help me more than I can. Because there's only one person that's going to be able to help you.
That's you.
Yeah, with the help of other people. And that's what this is all about.
Oh, you're so cute.
Yeah, shucks. So, and you know what? When you do put yourself out there, when I put myself out there, I'm conscious of the amount of people that are like, "Oh my God, look at him dick swinging," or "Look at him this," that. Yeah, it's like, actually, I have a massive thing about not wanting other people to feel how you felt at school and how I might have felt at school. So my thing was being the thick kid. And my thing was being, why can everyone else read the book and pass the exam with an A the next day, and I can, I'm struggling on it. I really don't want to do my homework. Why do other people just be able to do stuff efficiently? And I'm like, or I'm in lessons, and, and all my reports are like, if Paul would concentrate, Paul would, and I'm not saying, I don't want sympathy for that, but I don't want, it's like when I go to schools and do chats, and I say to, I probably, sorry if I'm boring people with having said this on other podcasts, but it's like, I say to them, like, I'm speaking to everyone. I am your network. Like, anyone in this room can ask me anything. Yeah. But I'm especially speaking to the kids that are like, where's my homework? Where's my books? I forgot my gym kit. Yeah. What's my next lesson? Where's my planner? Where am I supposed to be? What's the teacher actually saying? And why am I thinking of, rabbits dancing on a maypole when I'm actually should be talking about Richard III? It's... But the message to those kids at the schools is, you might be the next flipping Richard Branston, as I call him, Chucky Magnet.
No, but it's true, exactly, though, isn't it?
And, when you speak to these kids, especially on an individual basis, and you get down to their level and you're like, right, what's your purpose? Yeah. What do you love? What would you never give up? And they're like, mountain biking. Have you seen that on YouTube about this mountain biking? Yeah. Like, I love that.
Do you know what, for kids though as well, I think they don't realise that they might lose what they love right now. Like, they don't know what they don't know. So if they're, let's say, 9, they're doing these things that they love to do, they're going to go through that phase and become adulted, and then they're going to lose all of that amazing play that they used to do, which actually could be the thing that makes them thoroughly happy, have full purpose. They're then going to get to about 30 and go, fuck me, I've got no purpose in my life, and go back to what they were doing when they were 9 and try to bring it back and get paid to do it. Yeah. Then this is absolutely mental. We already know what we like to do at 9 years old, but we get trained to get rid of that. It's weird.
I did so well when I came out the Navy, and then I was in business with my dad for a lot of years, but I was living for nights and weekends to smash houses up, and that's what I loved. And then after a while, did that full time, and I should have just stayed doing that. Because I've tried to be a shiny... Yeah, I've had some other great opportunities and stuff like that over the last few years, and the government's doing the best to kind of squash all of that. But it's like, if I'd have just stayed on the tools and worked a 4-day week and been the best paid maintenance man in Darlington and run around just fixing my own little houses without 2 or 3 people doing that and this, just kept it simple, stupid. You know?
Yeah, but you can't squash... In the one set, we're having this conversation saying everyone should try and achieve the goals. But I think that's then the problem with the way this country's worked, is that there's only really a point in getting so big before it's completely pointless. So you've achieved everything that you probably wanted to, and then you get to a certain point, and for government reasons, there's literally 0 point being there.
No point.
Is that right?
Yeah, well, no,
Is that
I mean,
fair?
do you know what I wish I'd done differently? And we'll have to wrap up in a bit, but so I'll wrap up on this. But like, what I wish I'd done differently is kept a bigger cushion, done less work, traded more properties instead of just amassing. And that validation for me was like amassing, more and more and more. It's like, well, actually, if they're just going to, just tax you on all of that to the absolute high heaven, why have I even bothered doing that? But, so it's like, I wish I'd just traded more and been a bit more chilled and stepped away from the coalface and just got other people to do all the work. And, but it is what it is. Hopefully it'll be right in the end. So where are you going with salvage then?
Salvage. I tell you what, here's the English word, salvage.
Salvage, right.
Salvage, that's easy. So we're launching it's going to launch online in a couple of weeks. I'm having a big, massive launch party on the 14th of March.
Which I'm going to be your model for.
Oh, yeah, you're going to be my model.
Because women don't want the makeup stripped off in public.
I know.
So I've got to be this face like a smacked ass.
But my friend Cherie's releasing a song the same day, and it is
that's a brilliant
it's
idea.
Really sexy as well. It's a gorgeous song. So she's going to sing me into a speech.
Oh my God.
So there's about 80 people confirmed.
Right.
She's going to...
That is mental, by
I know.
the way. Oh, you didn't say 80, I'll be dead shy.
Fuck me, I need you on the stage. How am I going to,
by the way, you need to get my sister on there. She actually looks...
She's on holiday.
My little sister. Oh, right, okay, fair enough.
So, gutted.
So that's on the 20th of March?
14th.
14th of March.
Everyone thinks it's February, which is Valentine's Day. It's actually steak and blowjob day, if they can see that it's the 3rd of the month. So we're going to launch and then we're going to go online. I've actually filmed something secret, which I might have to go away and do. Don't mention a word.
I won't.
So there's something really mega happening in the background. So I may actually only be able to launch for a month. Shut down, go away for 3 months, come back, have another launch party. So anyway, there's about 80 possibly, but I can't say anything more than that.
Not like you to chuck a flipping grenade into something and upset it and but bring it back better. And
there's nothing you can do about it, is there? So so that's that, and I can't bloody wait.
Well, I'm not enticing note. We'll end there. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Paul.
I don't tend to hug my guests over there.